Hello and welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights as follows. A meeting was held with the heads of the lists of candidates for the legislative elections, Ministry of the Interior and the legislative elections. The Hill 10 Battalion flies out under the aegis of the Ministry of Defense. Relief operation in Somalia. And on the international scene, deforestation drought the Amazon near an irreversible tipping point in environment. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The Minister of Interior, Mr. Said Nur Hassan, received in his premises of the ministry the heads of the list of candidates for the legislative election, which will be held in our country on Friday, February 24, 2023. In this interview, the minister welcomed the activism for this electoral process and thanked the leaders of political parties who decided to compete for the renewal of the representatives of the nations by submitting their lists of candidates within the legal deadlines. He also urged the leaders of the political organizations in the running to ensure compliance with the requirements set by the electoral law, in particular the deposit of the legal deposit for all the candidates of the list within 24 hours in order to be able to proceed to the final registration and to deliver the final recipients in the process. As part of the upcoming legislative elections on February 21st, 2023, the distribution of voter registration cards has been begun throughout the Ali Sibih region. In several card distribution centers in the city of Ali Sibih, especially the prefecture, long lines of people who were supposed to be registered were observed. The issuance of voters' cards started very early this morning, Sunday, January 29th, as a joke, people moved massively to the distribution sites to retrieve their precious and essential voters' card to take part in the election. In an interview granted to our correspondent in Ali Sibih region, the prefect of Ali Sibih region, Mr. Musa Aden Migane, stressed that the distribution of voters' cards is going on well and that the population has already had the opportunity to collect their voter cards since the beginning of the operation of the withdrawal of voter cards this morning. Still within the framework of the legislative election, the prefecture of Dakhil undertook the operations of signing and cutting of the voters' cards. These operations, which took place under the aegis of the prefect of the Dakhil region, Mr. Adan Darar Musa, saw the participation of the prefect deputies, the sub-prefectures, and the entire administrative staff of the prefecture. In parallel with the signing and cutting operations, the prefecture has set up a local databases for the search of voters in order to facilitate the distribution operations and the daily recapitulation of the cards. At the end of these operations, the sub-locality voter cards and the computer equipment were sent to the sub-prefectures, where the distributions will take place simultaneously within the chief town of Dakhil. In this regard, the prefect of the region of Dakhil, Mr. Adan Darar Musa, visited the various distribution counters of voter cards to control and observe the progress of the distribution operations of voter cards. The prefecture of Dakhil has also set up a mobile team to distribute voter cards in remote areas of the region. The Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, received today Mr. Oliver Klein, General Manager of BREAD. The General Manager of BREAD thanked the Prime Minister for the warm welcome given to him and his close collaborators. For his part, the Prime Minister recalled that BREAD Group is a privileged partner of the Republic of Djibouti. At the end of the visit, the Prime Minister decorated Mr. Oliver Khan, General of BREAD, with the medal in the National Order of June 27 as a token of recognition. Attended this meeting the Secretary General of the Prime Minister's Office, Mr. Naguib Abdullah Muhammad Kamil, the Director of the Prime Minister's Office, Mr. Yusuf Awled Farah, the general manager of the BCIMR Bank, Mr. Riji Barak, as well as his main collaborators. A conference on the theme of inflation, interest rates, and debt was organized this morning in the Faculty of Engineering at the University of Djibouti by the Professor Mr. Oliver Klein, General Manager of BRID Group. Oliver Klein is the General Manager of BRID since September 2012. He was previously CEO of Commercial Banking and Insurance and a member of the Board of Directors of BPCE since April 2010. He is also Director of Natkisis Assist Management and Nixity. He's a graduate of the French National School of Statistics and Economic Administration and the HEC Graduate School of Finance. He is an affiliate professor of economics and finance at HEC and co-directs the economics major in the master's degrees in managerial and financial economics. This conference was attended by the president of the university, Dr. Jami' Mohammed Hassan, the director general of BCIMR Bank, Mr. Riji Barak, and his deputy, Mr. Abdullah Ibrahim, the secretary general of the Ministry of Economy and Finance, Mr. Abdul Razak Ahmed Idris, as well as officials. Following the farewell ceremony held in Mariama on Thursday, January 26th, the HEL 10 battalion flew to Somalia on board the MA-60 military of the Djiboutian Armed Forces in the direction of Jalalaksi to relieve the HEL 8 battalion this Saturday, January 28th. This reporting event was placed under the aegis of the Ministry of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed, accompanied by the Lieutenant General, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces. Also present were Brigadier General Tahir Mohammed Ali, Chief of Defense Staff, and Colonel Major Mohammed Kayad Gelle, Deputy Chief of Defense Staff and senior officials of the Djiboutian Armed Forces. Upon arrival, the Ministry of Defense and the Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces reviewed the first elements of the HEL 10 battalion are ready to be deployed in Somalia. With an experience of 10 battalions deployed since 2012, the Republic of Djibouti has always supported its neighboring countries. Somalia, and the ADF celebrates this year its 12th anniversary of projection. Today, the first relief elements are on their way to Jalalaksi, led by the head of the HEL 10 battalion, Commander Mohammed Yusuf Kayad, and his staff. This complex relief operation requires careful preparation and will last for about 2 weeks. On the occasion of their departure, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim took the opportunity to wish them a complete success in their mission. We listen to Semga.
In his speech, the Chief of General Staff of the Army Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim took the opportunity to wish them a complete success in their mission. It was also an opportunity to deliver the ultimate message from the Minister of Defense, a message embedded with the wisdom, guidance, and courage in the accomplishment of their duties. He said, "You, the 10th Battalion, will be projected this day in Jalaxy town to relieve your brothers in arms who have successfully completed their mission. Be aware that you represent the Djiboutian nation, as you have already demonstrated. I am convinced that you will raise to this mission and raise your flag even higher. Remain united and endurance." The Major General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim on this occasion clarified to the officials and soldiers that the Djiboutian government infers the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Magili, as well as to the Djiboutian people, their attachment and their total support that they carried in them.
On the same day, they witnessed the arrival of the first rotation of the Hill 8 Battalion relieved from Jalalaqsi. The Hill 8 Battalion, deployed since 2021, spent 2 long years in Jalalaqsi in hostile territory located in Sector 4 as part of the fight against Al-Shabaab militias. The latter, after having courageously completed their mission, expressed immense joy in returning home and were received with all the military honors due to them.
gobanimada ugu biyo calankiyo arladu kiyayirkanayeen moogtahay askariyo.
To ensure that these soldiers returned from their missions unscattered and in good health, several workshops were prepared in advance. In turn, each soldier was examined on the administrative, health, and psychological levels. inatahay awoodii lagu harsanayay ma ogtahay askariyo. Finally, it is so that first elements of return took a solemn lunch in the presence of the high military executives. It is in a very convivial atmosphere that the folk Harbi animated the rest of the day to the rhythm of the songs and traditional military and ceremonial choreography. Let's watch.
moogtahay askariyo inaatahay taalikii gobanimada ugu biyo calankiyo arladu kiyayirkanayeen.
geesiyadan habboonay wiil sideed la baxaye hedalkiyo dadaalkiyo ha yeeshee naftoodaba walaalahoodu hurayey hiiraanka yimidow soo dhowayn habboon iyo hambaliya salaan iyo heesaha macaan iyo hawdhaar gobeed iyo hambaliya salaan baan idiin hadiyadayno hooyaynileene hambalyada guddoonsada.
The Ministry of Labor in charge of Formalization and Social Protection, in collaboration with the Regional Institute of Administration of Lille, organized this morning the launch of the training program for the profiles of public administration agents. This ceremony, chaired by the Ministry of Labor in charge of Formalization and Social Protection, Mr. Omar Abdi Said, took place this morning at the National Institute of Public Administration. Was present at this ceremony the Director of FINAB, the Director of the Regional Institute, and the Business Manager of the Embassy of France, but also many officials and beneficiaries of the training. The objective is to promote the culture and practices of quality management in the Republic of Djibouti and to create a pool of qualified trainers. This training will last 8 months in order to raise the levels of technical competence of 25 executives of the central administration. For his part, the Minister of Labor in charge of Formalization and Social Protection, Mr. Omar Abdi Said, welcomed the various officials and beneficiaries of this training.
In his speech, the Minister of Labor in charge of Formalization and Social Protection, Mr. Omar Abdi Said, welcomed the various officials and beneficiaries of this training. He recalled the main objective, which is to promote the culture and practice of quality management in the Republic of Djibouti and to create a pool of qualified trainers. The minister also said that he was pleased to raise the level of technical competence of 25 executive of the central administration.
Within the framework of the 42nd meeting of the Council of Ministers of Social Affairs of Arab countries held in Doha, the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Ulufa Ismail Abdo, took part last Thursday in the work of the Council, which saw the adoption unanimously of the Doha Declaration on the Right of the Disabled in the fight against multidimensional poverty. At the end of the meeting, the ministers congratulated the Republic of Djibouti for its membership in the Executive Board of the Council of Ministers of Social Affairs of Arab countries. Minister Ulufa Ismail Abdo was accompanied by the Ambassador of Djibouti to Qatar, His Excellency Mr. Dayab Dub'ad Roble, as well as Mrs. Hodan Musa Ahmed and Mr. Eltere Mohammed Kayad. In a speech delivered on this occasion, the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity expressed her thanks to the brotherly state of Qatar for the warm welcome and hospitality and for the wonderful preparation of this meeting. Let's listen to her.
In a speech delivered on the occasion, the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity expressed her thanks to the brotherly state of Qatar for the warm welcome and hospitality and for the wonderful participation and preparation of this meeting. She took the opportunity to congratulate Qatar for successful organization of the FIFA 2022 World Cup and also commended the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, chair of the 41 its sessions of a Council of Arab Minister of Social Affairs for its effort to implement the recommendation and decision of the previous sessions. During her speech, the minister recalled the various measures taken by the Djibouti government in the short and long term to support the most vulnerable groups in society, particularly in the fight of emergency aid in the face of drought. The Republic of Djibouti, she said, like some of its brotherly countries and Arab countries, has been greatly affected by the repeated drought, economic and social problems that the war has witnessed in recent years, as well as the repercussions of the current Russian-Ukraine war, which has also became an obstacle to the global economic recovery. My country, under the leadership of President Ghili, has taken a number of measures to mitigate as much as possible the consequence of this crisis, said the minister. Ms. Ulufa Ismail Abdo noted that the intervention of her department are based on the implementation and coordination of the policy of combating poverty, the consolidation of the value of national solidarity and the promotion, but also protection of vulnerable groups, especially the elderly, disabled, and disadvantaged people. Also, as part of her speech, the minister reviewed the ministry's anti-poverty program as followed. She said the food support program, which is carried out through a cash transfer distribution of a food basket, health insurance program with target vulnerable population, especially the elderly people and people with a special need, but also people with no income. thirdly, health assistance program for disabled children in Djibouti, a social assistance program for students from poor families in the interior region and in Djibouti city. Finally, institutional and community capacity building to develop public infrastructure and economic opportunities at the local level.
The Secretary of State for Sports, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and WHO, organized this afternoon a walk dedicated to the fight against a sedentary lifestyle in Djibouti City. The participants, wearing white caps and white or blue T-shirts, walked a distance of 3 kilometers, starting from the traffic circle of the Cross of Lorraine to the Esplanade of the People's Palace. This march was attended by hundreds of participants, including various personalities, namely the Secretary of State for Sports, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Kamil, the Secretary General of the SES, Mrs. Khadija Ibrahim, the representative of WHO, the President of CNOSD, Madam Aisha Ali Garad, the various representatives of United Nations agencies, the various international communities residing in Djibouti, youth associations, as well as lovers of this discipline, have taken part all massively in this sports walk.
Très important de pouvoir faire du sport.
The Secretary of State in charge of sports took the opportunity to thank and congratulate all participants. Let's listen to him.
In his speech, the Secretary of State in charge of sport took the opportunity to thank and congratulate all participants while promising the work with the main actors, among which the Ministry of Health, the World Health Organization, and the association in charge of organization and work in order to organize more regularly these activities, which has known a great mobilization. He said, "You are giving here an excellent example of the benefit of physical exercises on health."
The General of MENFOP, Mr. Mohamed Abdullah Mahyoub, and the Director of the French Development Agency in Djibouti, chaired today the first meeting of the steering committee of the CIFA project Support to Girls' Education and their Empowerment. This meeting took place in the presence of UNICEF, the Council of Cooperation and Cultural Action of the French Embassy in Djibouti, Mr. Stéphane Gallet, the representative of the MJC, MFF, the steering committee of the project, as well as senior executives and officials of MENFOP. This is an ambitious project with a series of objectives. This include improving girls' access to quality primary and middle school education, building the skills of rural adolescents, and retaining girls in middle and secondary school. Officials of the interministerial participants followed presentations of the CIFA project as a whole and the timeline of activities for the first year of project implementation. After the stage of the regions of the South, the team of the Ministry of Health, led by Dr. Issa Abdi Bourre, ophthalmic surgeon, has set foot at the CMH of Obokh, where they have provided eye care, including cataract surgery. The prefect of the region, Mr. Abdul Malik Mohammed Banoita, the president of the regional council of Obokh, Mr. Mohammed Humad Ismail, and the doctor of the region, Dr. Hassan, did not fail to welcome this commendable action for the benefit of the population of the region. In some, more than 500 patients have benefited from cataract surgery, and nearly 5,000 consultations have been carried out in all regions of the Republic. Finally, the activities of fight against blindness, will continue in the capital for the population of Djibouti City in the region of Arta in the month of February of this year. As for the international scene, our blood viewers, let me take you to the Amazon, where it's an unreservable tipping point according to scientists. More details with Ghasira Ali.
The Amazon is close to an irreversible tipping point, according to scientists. Two studies published in the journal Science on Thursday, 26 January, have for the first time estimated the effect of degradation in the South American. The damage inflicted by human activities and drought is significantly greater than previously observed, said the researchers, including from the Brazilian University. Public opinion has focused mainly on deforestation, which now reach 17% of the original Amazon areas, but the impact of this degradation affected about 2.5 million kilometers, or at least 38% of the still preserved Amazon. According to the studies, the forest, which covers 9 countries, is facing in a few decades change that will normally have been spread over millions of years.
Well, by this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you once again for joining us. Take care.